Trump has once again taken his luscious golden locks across the pond to Europe and landed in Poland. It's given us great nuggets of joy, like his very astute recollection of World War II.
You were invaded yet again, this time by Nazi Germany from the west and the Soviet Union from the east. That's trouble. That's tough.
And then the First Lady of Poland slighted Donald, and oh my god, the BBC ran it like it was an ESPN highlight. Also, that was the only sports reference you will ever get from me. Now, the mockery's fun, I get that. Here in the United States, we do that more than anyone else. But one mustn't lose sight of the terrifying rhetoric Trump is employing amidst the chauvinism and hair jokes, because Trump fear-mongered like the awful demagogue he is in the States, but this time, he spoke to the people of Poland.
The fundamental question of our time is whether the West has the will to survive. Do we have the confidence in our values to defend them at any cost?
Now, if the rhetorical questions advanced here seem familiar to you, that's because the speech was written by perpetually moist Santa Monica fascist Stephen Miller, who, along with human skin tag Steve Bannon, authored the famous Muslim travel ban. A tale of two Steves, systematically trying to bring about a war of cultures and religion by appealing to the base fears of Judeo-Christians worldwide.
Do we have enough respect for our citizens to protect our borders? Do we have the desire and the courage to preserve our civilization in the face of those who would subvert and destroy it?
I'm riled up. Now, I'm not even going to get into the irony of this statement because it represents a very unique position for the Polish people who played a big part in Brexit, because far-right nationals in the UK were angry at the surge in Polish immigration almost as much as they were terrified of those dirty Muslims. But since the Poles are still kind of white and definitely Catholic, Trump highlighted a key part of the alt-right / Steve Bannon manifesto for them.
We must work together to confront forces that threaten over time to undermine these values and to erase the bonds of culture, faith, and tradition that make us who we are.
Look, Steve Bannon believes that there have been many global conflicts in the world between Christian forces and non-Christians, and each time the US has been the singular force for good in the face of evil as a defender of these Western values, even when other Western nations have failed to step up.
The Judeo-Christian West is in a crisis.
This is the fourth great crisis in American history.
The great fourth turning in American history.
This rot at the center of the Judeo-Christian West.
You have an expansionist Islam.
You only vet if you're going to let them in. Why even let them in?
We are in an outright war against jihadist Islam, Islamic fascism.
And in Bannon's worldview, this conflict extends to all ideologies that have strayed away from Judeo-Christian values. Like, it started off with Nazi Germany, then extends to Soviet Russia, and now Islam, which is why we hear the same words echoed in Trump's speech.
Just as Poland could not be broken, I declare today for the world to hear that the West will never, ever be broken. Our values will prevail, our people will thrive, and our civilization will triumph.
Now look, these are tactics meant to divide the public in a clear us versus them mentality, and they're not necessarily new. They're similar to the racial superiority idealism that white oligarchs advanced in the Reconstruction era South. They did this to keep the white working class complicit and feeling better about their conditions because at least they weren't black. And this resurging white nationalist Judeo-Christian idealism advanced by the likes of Bannon push a similar agenda. Be afraid, your Western identity's at stake. Don't mind the economic disparity brought about by crony capitalism and focus on the dangers of Islam instead. This type of divisiveness and scapegoating once proved very effective when delivered in the original German. If you guys remember what I'm talking about, I'm obviously alluding to Hitler, but now I guess we'll just have to wait and see whether it'll work now that it's being translated into Polish as well. I'm Hassan Piker. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Hassan D. Piker and on Twitter at Hassan the Hun. And this has been The Breakdown.